Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel for a brand new Q&A video. I've got a whole bunch of viewer submitted questions here to answer, all specifically from members of the Patreon team on a specific tier of the campaign. So if you want to learn more about submitting a question, you got a link right at the bottom of the screen right now. Do check it out, but right now, we got some questions to get to, kicking it off with Evan's question. Evan is asking, you remember your question of who's someone doing good in the industry? I think it's worth revisiting. Oh, look who's joined us for this answer. I'm sure him sitting up here is not going to end poorly for anybody. Evan, I am glad you brought this up because I do think it's a question worth revisiting, time and time again. For those of you who don't know, this is something that I've gotten in the habit of asking during a lot of my movie and TV interviews, and I don't know, I just love hearing more about the people that I already admire. I love hearing new names that might not cross my mind to answer this question that somebody else feels passionate about, and often my answers are tied to interviews that I am going to conduct or have conducted. And for this particular answer, that is the case because this week I am planning to talk to Billy Porter, of course, for Pose. And he is just so talented. I've known that about him for a very long time now, but one of the things that I find most exciting about his success is what he's done with it over the years, just with, his presence on red carpets, what he uses his time in the spotlight for, how his success is raising awareness of underrepresented groups in the industry. Really, I haven't spoken to Billy just yet, but just in my preliminary research for our conversation, I'm beyond thrilled for this conversation. I'm beyond thrilled because I have grown quite obsessed with Pose, but also because he is an extremely accomplished individual who seems to be doing very good things with his star power, and that's the kind of person that I want to get the opportunity to interview, so I'm very much looking forward to that. Evan, again, thank you for bringing this question back into the mix. Next one here is from Luke, who wants to know, I was wondering, with events like South by Southwest moving to virtual formats, how do you think that will affect film festivals in the future when we have hopefully returned to normal? Every time I get a question like this, I do have to begin my answer by saying that I have a tough time answering these types of questions because I don't know what normal is going to look like and when normal is going to arrive. And I don't know what it's going to be like a year from now, 6 months from now, even a week from now for that matter. And are we talking about going back to normal as we really knew it, or are we going to a new normal? I don't know. So this is just some very early speculation, and my answer could change tomorrow for all I know. But I do wonder if we might wind up in a situation where attendance at things like festivals is limited for probably a good while. But let's say they embrace the virtual format for longer than, we might hope, especially because I love festivals. I love the community there. I want to get back to it as quickly as possible, but I also want to do that as safely as possible. So let's just say they embrace the virtual idea for a good while. One of the coolest things that I've seen yet is, I'm not sure if you guys saw I believe I posted on Instagram and Twitter, I was invited to the Love Life premiere, the Love Life virtual premiere. It's an upcoming show on HBO Max that stars Anna Kendrick, and I thought what they did was really cool in that it embraced the premiere vibe. So the way that it worked was they sent out a link, and at that specific time, I had to enter my password when I clicked on the link, and then I was brought into this. It was almost like a chat room, really, so I might get rid of the chat function while the movie is playing, but you were able to watch the first 2 episodes of the show with a whole bunch of people at the exact same time. I signed in, let's say 10 minutes early, and there was a countdown, 10 minutes until the premiere of Love Life. So I feel like if you limit the amount of passwords given out so it still has that exclusive vibe, or if you sell the passwords like you might sell tickets to something like that, like a premiere screening at a festival that's done in a traditional sense, that might be able to mimic the vibe a little bit. And the other cool thing after that premiere screening event is then the whole video room shifted over to multiple rooms, and it was supposed to feel like a party. Paul Feig was mixing drinks in one room, there was a DJ in another, there was karaoke, there was all this fun stuff, but that was probably the closest thing I've done that felt like I was separate from everybody, but we were still enjoying the same thing together. And I don't know, if they can mimic something like that with a film festival format, I might be into it. Next question here, as always, a fun one from Billy. Billy is asking me, if you could only read one book for the rest of your life, what would it be? It's funny because I've been asked the movie question more times than I can count, but I've actually never been asked about the one book that I would choose, and I struggled a little with this one, so no surprise. My mind immediately went to Jurassic Park, which is one of my favorite books of all time, just like the movie is my favorite movie of all time. Then I just started to wonder, I started to think strategically, I should say, and then my mind went over to one of my favorite authors, of course, Stephen King, and my favorite Stephen King book is It, and it is like a massive book. So it's like, if you're stuck just reading one book for the rest of your life, don't you want a whole bunch of material? And on top of that, that's got a huge ensemble. It's got so many stories within the bigger story. So I lean towards that, but I don't know. I mean, I could just live in the fictional Jurassic world, so to speak. So I feel like I have to go with that. If I was stuck reading the same book over and over and over again for the rest of my life, I gotta go with Jurassic Park, but it would be a close second. All right, next question here. The fourth one is from Ian, who is asking, what franchise do you think has been the most consistent quality-wise? Ian already knows this because the second he told me this question, I'm like, hey man, I like this one because it's an excuse for me to talk about Scream again. Because yeah, I know Scream 3 pales in comparison to the others. If the reaction to my rank list on Collider.com was any indication, many of you feel the same way too. But really, 1, 2, and 4 are pretty high quality movies, and they're very smart movies that really do build the franchise and move it forward in some interesting ways. And I got my fingers crossed that Radio Silence is going to continue bringing it in a positive direction with round 5. I also have to go Final Destination. That franchise is 4 for 5. 1, 2, 3, and 5, all excellent. Yes, 4 was a massive swing and a miss, and it's a very upsetting installment to me, but you know, I wouldn't say Scream 3 is on the same level as The Final Destination. I really do think The Final Destination is a rock bottom film, but in a similar sense, when The Final Destination is on, I'm never going to turn it off because I enjoy existing in that horror franchise. So, you know, it's still watchable. And now, moving away from horror, though, I have to bring up the MCU. It's just, look at how many movies they've made, and maybe not all of them are your favorite, but I would say the majority are at a certain level of quality, if not above. And then when you look at some of the best, like, I don't know, I'm just naming things off the top of my head. Black Panther, Infinity War, Endgame, my personal favorite, Guardians of the Galaxy, Civil War, Winter Soldier. I mean, there is some incredible filmmaking in that franchise. And I've said this before, but I'll say it again. Incredible filmmaking that feels cohesive and serves the overall MCU. And I'm also loving what we've been seeing, especially recently, with directors with very specific styles and tones that they veer towards. The MCU is embracing it, and it's making the films feel, again, like a cohesive story, but unique to that specific director. And that's something that I think is going to carry the MCU for hopefully many more phases. I also need to give a little bit of a shout out to the Hunger Games franchise, a franchise I personally adore, and actually, that one I think is a perfect track record. No, the Mockingjay films are not as good as Hunger Games and Catching Fire, but they're still pretty well done, so that one's up there. And while I can't speak as passionately about this franchise, the Harry Potter film franchise has a pretty damn good track record too. I've seen all the movies and I do like them quite a bit, but I just know there's some hardcore fans that know every single detail, and I'm more of a casual viewer with the Harry Potter film franchise, but the other 4 I'm pretty passionate about, and I'm looking at my list right now. I'm feeling pretty good about this, but I know there are a whole bunch I missed here, so if you guys have a franchise that you think is very consistent, drop it in the comment section below. All right, we got, one more. Steven's question is, since the lockdown, what's one thing you've discovered that you really enjoy doing now that you probably would not have given a second thought to if we haven't been in lockdown? If you guys have been watching any of my videos since being home in New York, you know that even though I am feeling the devastation of what's happening right now, I'm doing everything in my power to look on the bright side. So, Steven, I appreciate you asking this question because it did challenge me to stop and think about some of the new exciting things that have entered my life because of the current situation. So, I don't know. Things are so tough right now that any chance I can to kind of grasp onto the good, I'll take it right now. And for me, some of the good has been live streaming. I mean, I had maybe thought about it before, but what's going on right now and me being stuck at home, that definitely gave me a nudge that I would not have had if I were still in LA operating, by my usual schedule, being here at home and also doing live streams with so many other people because, I miss seeing my friends and my colleagues face to face. So I do think that the current circumstances have pushed me much quicker. And I was basically thrown into the deep end with live streaming, but I'm glad for it because I love my Saturday live stream at noon every Saturday, noon Eastern, if you haven't been watching. And also, really, Friday nights are becoming my favorite time of the week. I just love doing the Merry Hour with Matt. I love doing beer pong. I love the horror talk. It's such a good time. And also, me being able to live stream at home by myself for my personal channel has really upped my abilities as far as being able to jump into somebody else's live stream with, decent lighting and sound and video. And speaking of which, being home has also encouraged me to invest in some better camera equipment. And I'm still working on the Mevo. I'm trying to find the best way for me to use it in order to enhance the channel. So I'm going to get to that. Another thing I could tell you guys about is I think that the current situation has made me more consistent with CrossFit. It's a little difficult. Anybody who goes to the gym regularly knows you got those days where you get up and you just don't feel like doing it. And I think because I am stuck at home and I'm trying so hard to create some sort of routine and maintain a healthy lifestyle that I don't really miss a day anymore. In fact, I think the last 2 weeks I've done 6 days of CrossFit a week. And I don't know, I'm feeling pretty good about that. Another thing that you might have caught on my Instagram, I cooked. I finally cooked, and it wasn't eggs in the microwave. Back to that Love Life premiere, they sent me I didn't make the dough or anything, but they sent me a pizza, and I legit made the pizza myself, and I put it in the oven on like a pizza stone, and I made a pizza. But that wasn't even all I did. That same night, my sister, so I did all the work because my sister was holding the baby, but she instructed me on how to make chicken lettuce cups, but I legit chopped the vegetables, chopped the chicken, I put the sauce on, I put it in the pan, I put it on the stove and everything, and I cooked it, and it was good. So I feel really good about that. And this is just a little thing, but really it's been a major bright spot in my day. I'll fully admit that. And it's TikTok. I do think that if I was out and about in LA, I never would have fully embraced TikTok. I always kind of brushed it off, and I was dabbling in it a little bit before I came to New York, but I don't think I would have tried to actually make my own videos if I wasn't here at home. And also, another thing I really love about TikTok is that, and this might sound silly to some, but my mom is really into it, and we share videos back and forth all the time. And I don't know, she gets really excited when we can make a video about Dewey or the dogs together. So I really love what TikTok has brought to my life, and I'm actually doing TikTok movie reviews, and to be completely honest, they're not really taking off, but I'm going to keep working on it. I always love trying new platforms and new things, and that's an exciting thing for me right now, so I'm going to keep at it. But if you want to go check me out on TikTok, I think it's just, my handle's just my name, Perri Nemiroff, or it might be P Nemiroff. You'll find me. You guys know what you're doing, but that's it. Those are the questions we've got today. A big thank you to all 5 of my Patreon team members, my top tier members, for always supporting me and always taking the time to come up with really thoughtful, interesting questions. I really appreciate you all. Evan, Luke, Billy, Ian, and Steven. Really, guys, means the world to me that you're here, so thank you. And the same to everybody out there watching this video. Do not forget to like and share before you leave. Also, check out that link. It's on the bottom of the screen. Again, if you want to send in a question for next month's video, and there's also information on how to join the Slack channel. You're missing out if you're not a part of it. We have a good time over there, and I love that crew so much. So have a good one, guys. Stay safe, and I'll see you soon.